Hey. Oh. Okay. Hello, everybody. Forgive me, I'm running a little bit behind, but I wanted to go ahead and start the stream anyway. Just don't mind all the strange sounds you might hear while I straighten out this particular situation here. It's all going to be fine as long as my dog doesn't destroy too much of stuff that's on the floor. Hey, there's my dog. Say hi, Beauregard. Say hi to the people. They can see you. Say hello. Oh. No, you don't need to cry. There's no crying in pottery. Oh, that's not true. There's lots of crying in pottery. But not today. It's not necessary for today. La, 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 la. Look at this clean work surface I have. Sort of. Oh, me. Hi, friends. Today, I have special little workshop I'm going to do. Not really a workshop, it's a workshop for me, but so I am going to be putting this frog onto these mugs using carbon transfer paper. So it's this pink stuff here. And so I'm going to be, and forgive me if the angle is not quite right on the video. I'm still kind of trying to work out some of the bugs with this part of the process, y'all. So bear with me. But I really want to get this close enough where you can actually see what I'm doing. I do wish. Okay. So it's very simple. This is as an original piece of artwork done by my good friend Audie Norman. I commissioned him for it. And so I have a bunch of mugs here. Some of them are bisqued already, which this is one that is bisqued already. And I've already done the transfer. So you can see the little frog sitting there. But I still need to outline him with Underglaze. So we'll do that later. But this piece has already been low temperature fired, which means the clay is now solid, and it has not been completely fired to what's called vitrification. So this has to go through at least one more firing before it's done. And before we get to that stage, I'm actually going to low temperature fire it one more time in order to set the underglaze that I'm going to be putting on these pieces. So that is one that looks bisqued. This is the same clay body as this, believe it or not. So this is what it looks like when it's dry, but has never been fired. So this kind of clay body is called, it's a tan speck. So there's a good bit of grog in this clay, and it's kind of this brownish color. And this is what it looks like. This kind of pinkish color is what tan speck looks like after it's been bisque fired. Once it has been completely fired up to cone 6, it'll look more like the inside of this piece. So you see how like it's all kind of tan and speckledy, thus the name Tan Speck. This was one of the first pieces, by the way, that I ever made, and it was a little homage to Hollow Knight, which was at the time the game I was obsessed with. And all these were supposed to be like the little butterflies around there, but I was still kind of learning about how glazes and underglazes interacted. So those got kind of washed out a little bit. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to get onto these. Now, these are greenware, so these are the same as this, just a different clay body. So this clay body is called B-Mix, and it's got some porcelain in it, but it's much less finicky than porcelain. It's not nearly as difficult to work with as porcelain. Ooh, and my masking tape has lost its, speaking of stickiness, my masking tape has lost its stickiness. So I just need to run across the hall and get a piece of tape. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Never mind. I'll make do with something else that I have in here. So I'm sure I have something that I can make work. All I need is just a little bit of sticky something to get that one little piece of paper to stick to the piece. That's all I need. So typically I would not use Scotch tape for this at all, but that is what I have. So, hi. I am doing a stream for Pottery. Nobody's watching yet, but that's what I'm doing. So, we are having salad with chicken, and I believe that the chicken is in the freezer. So if you get hungry and want to look into that, you can, figure out what we need to do. Look at Violet's foot. Why is her foot turned out like that? Because she's cute. She's like a freaking ballerina. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to move my pop filter out of my face here so I can actually see what I'm doing. And here we go. So the way this works is I'm just going to trace over this with my pencil here. And the carbon transfer is going to do exactly that. It's going to transfer the marks I make on the paper to the piece below. So can you see that little mark there? So this part of it is the more tedious part, but there are obviously many, many ways to decorate a cup. This one in particular, because this was a piece of art that I commissioned from a friend of mine, I wanted it to look as close to exactly the way that he drew it as I could possibly get. So I'm just tracing over that. Well, hey, BioCow. Ribbit and stuff, indeed. Ribbit, y'all. That's what I should put on here as lettering. I should say, y'all come back now, Ribbit. I thought about, I have another project that Chuck and I are going to be working on soon. We're going to be making a fountain together. And I thought about trying to roll out the slab for some of the hand building pieces and going through how to do that on this stream, but unfortunately these mugs have time pressure to them, and currently our fountain does not. So I decided that it would be irresponsible of me to use my time doing a non-time sensitive project when I had a time sensitive one that is coming due very, very quickly. So yeah, and I kind of, in my head, I have a little system for remembering to go over all of the little pieces of this frog. I don't always completely stick to it, but it kind of helps me to keep track of which pieces of him I have already traced over versus which ones I haven't. And sorry if you can hear all the racket in the background. That's my washing machine running. Hopefully my mic is filtering that out, but I don't know. Can't hear it. Okay, cool. Well, good, because like it's on the loudest part of the cycle. So if you can't hear it now, then you won't be able to hear it at all. So yeah, so my little system is I do the hat, and then I do the chair, and then I do the overalls, and then I do the frog himself, and I end with the little straw that he's chewing on. So and I try to get as much of this, that the transfer doesn't always work completely perfectly, but as long as it gives a good general idea, then I can just look at the reference and trace it over myself. But I try and get as much of it in one go as possible, because the more you move the piece around on the top, the more you run the risk of not putting it back in the right place, and then it looks all screwed up. Hi.
Can I steal a comb from you?
You may absolutely steal a comb from me. Yes. I'm such a professional. Do. Drawing my little redneck frog. Isn't he cute though? Didn't Audie do a wonderful job? I love Audie's work. I think he does great stuff. All right. Now we just trace over the eyes. Okay, then we peel it back, and it's very faint on the video, but you can kind of see where it came through. I can see it very clearly, but it's a little tougher to see on the video, but you can see that it comes through. So, and you can definitely see the imprint that it made on the carbon transfer. So, this step is actually completely optional. And for this mug, I think I'll skip it. But ordinarily, what I would do is you can kind of see on this mug, I did this where you see where the pencil marks are a little darker. That's because I literally went back over them in pencil. So, but this one, it actually, while it's faint, it's actually clear enough and it came through crisply enough that I feel like I can decorate it with the underglaze without tracing back over it with the pencil. So all right. So speaking of underglaze, I have here jet black velvet underglaze. And one of these little precision nozzles. And I'm just gonna screw this on here. These bottles I find work really, really well. The trick is to have a little piece of scrap paper nearby. Ooh, mess. So you have a little bit of scrap paper and you can just get that initial blob on there so that you can make really precise, nice lines on your piece. Whoop. I say if it makes a big old blob, but that's okay. It's going to be just fine. Do, do, do. Trust the process. I should turn on some music or something. It's eerily quiet now. You hear a sad puppy. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's just upset because Chuck is out on a bike ride and I'm up here doing this instead of sitting in the living room with him on my lap watching television, or if he needs to go outside or something. I hope it's the first one, because if he needs to go outside, I'm likely to have to clean up pee later. He's so loud. He's so whiny and needy. Doo-doo. I every once in a while, after I put some underglaze on there, I'll just blow on it a little bit because it dries. The underglaze dries really fast. And if I just give it a little blow, then I'm less likely to, smudge it or something awful. Oh, I cheated. I did the I did the little chewing straw first. Oops. It's okay. It's my process. I can decide to change it midstream if I want. Right? Right. I love that he's a frog in overalls. Like that just, the whole concept of that is just so cute and charming to me. I assure you, my dog is nowhere near as abused or sad as he would have you believe. He has some separation anxiety, and since his daddy left the house earlier. Uh-oh. Well, now something's happening. Do y'all hear this racket? I mean, seriously. Oh, hey, Bugsy. Yeah, so this is a little bottle of Underglaze, which is basically paint. But it's in a little squeeze bottle with a really fine precision tip on it. And so I'm just outlining this design onto these mugs. And don't worry that you missed the beginning. You're fine because I have plenty of mugs that need this treatment. So I will do the whole thing again. From stem to stern. Sometimes the tip gets a little clogged up, particularly if you're dragging it over greenware, because little bits of clay and whatnot can get in there. But it's easy enough to fix, particularly in this room. This is my office, but it's also my craft room. And as a result, I have needles and straight pins and things of that nature. So you just kind of poke that in there. All right. All right, you. What is your major malfunction? They will, yes. So, yes, these mugs are, most of them are greenware. This one that I'm working on right now is greenware, so it has never been fired. This one over here, it has been fired once, but uh, it's gonna get painted with underglaze, and then I will bisque fire it again before the final firing. This one also is greenware. So most of them that I'm working with have never been fired. And after I decorate them, they will get bisque fired, and then after that, what the heck, yo? After that, they will get glazed and sent to the final firing. I don't know what is happening with my little squeeze bottle, but I'll tell you what, I don't like it. No, sir, I don't. It's highly, highly unfortunate that this is happening right now. Because this was working fine like 45 seconds ago, and now it is causing a problem. Blech. All right. But that's fine. Because as I mentioned, I have plenty to do. I know, right, BioCow? It was working. And yes, probably if I rinse it with hot water, it'll be just fine. And I have other tops and tips that I can use. So I can come back to that later. But yeah, so this one's like, I'd say this is a little over half done. But we'll move on. Have I? Okay. Yes. So this is one that's completely blank. It hasn't gotten the design on it at all yet. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking this design that I commissioned from an artist friend of mine named Audie Norman, and I am just transferring it onto the piece using this pink transfer paper. So I'm just going to loosely stick it in place there. And it doesn't matter if it's completely, straight or not. It's fine. Da, da, da. So then, All right. Get another piece of tape. Once that tape's sticky is all done. It doesn't need to stick forever. It just needs to stick long enough for me to draw this little froggy on here. So then I just take my pencil and do a little test mark, just because I don't like to draw the whole freaking thing and find out that I have exhausted this particular piece of carbon transfer paper. Okay, cool. That worked. Because it's a pretty simple design, but it's got enough detail to it to where it's a bit frustrating to lift up the paper and discover that none of the marks that I made actually went through. So normally if I were just, decorating something of my own design, I mean, I guess it depends on how fussy I wanted to be about it looking exactly like the original artwork, right? In this case, this is not my art. This is Audie Norman's art. And so I want it to look as close as I possibly can to his original. So this is really the best way to go. You can also, um, if you have like a Cricut, one of those, vinyl cutters, you can cut out the design from vinyl and then, you know, use that as a stencil. But that can get really tricky, particularly if you've got a lot of like these little cut-ins and just, all these little separate pieces here. That gets really, really tricky. Um, and it's almost like more trouble than it's worth, right? Because you end up like with all these little separate pieces that you have to place, and you have to place them in the right place in order for the piece to look correct. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, so that can get a little tricky. So I decided that the transfer paper was probably the easiest and most efficient way to go, even though I realize watching this process, it doesn't look terribly efficient. Um, but this is what I got. So this is what I'm going with. Hey, Julia.
Yeah.
Will you go downstairs and bring me my pottery bag? Thank you. This mug is actually one that I threw um, probably a day or two ago, or a few days ago. It may have actually been one that I did on the last stream, but it's not one of Chuck's, which is why it's wonky. Chuck doesn't make wonky things. I do. I am the one that makes wonky things. And that is okay. I like wonky things. I would like to be able to make things that aren't wonky and then make wonky things by choice. And I will one day be able to get there. But that is not this day. I love his big old webbed feet sticking out from his cuffed up overalls. Like, I don't know. Everything about this little piece of art, I just love. Just makes me happy. Which is good because I'm having to draw it like umpteen times. Wouldn't it suck if I hated it and I was doing it over and over again? Like having to draw it over and over again? I don't think I would. I think I'd like figure something else out rather
Where
than.
is it? I can't find it.
Oh, it might be in the back of one of the cars. Okay. Really, what I need is more of these. So they might be on the kitchen table, like just the little nozzles.
Okay.
Or in my cubby hole.
Right.
Thank you. It's my studio assistant, also known as my daughter. Okay, where was I? I did his feet. Okay. I did this hand. do this hand. Okay. Do the froggy's head. And there's a little chewing straw. And let's see, looks like I missed part of the legs. And you guys can't see that at all, I bet. It is really, really faint. But the marks are there. Trust me. Most of them, anyway. Some of them are missing, and I'm about to go put them back in now. Yeah. You can't really see. It's too faint, and on the light colored cup, it's just. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, Thugsy says hi. She goes, hi. Okay. Here we go. All right. So now, on this one, I will do this little step too. So I'm just going to go back over this with my regular pencil so that you can see the markings better. And not just so you can, but so I can. Let's see. I apologize ahead of time if I accidentally move the cup out of frame. I will attempt to not do that. Ah. And see, what's great about this is that little stray pencil mark right there doesn't matter because it's just going to burn off in the kiln. So, as long as I don't trace back over it with the underglaze, then it will not matter at all, and it'll be like it never happened. Yes, exactly. Exactly, BioCow. Yeah, like these pencil marks, they just sort of evaporate. No, no, not at all. I used the word vitrification earlier. I don't know that it gets much nerdier than that. But yeah, the pencil marks will just disappear once you burn them in the kiln. So you can draw on a piece of pottery all you want with pencil, and it's not gonna make a difference at all. It's so funny, like watching this, and it's like seeing what you guys are seeing. It looks a little like I can barely just faintly see that there are little lines there that I'm going over. But to y'all, this probably looks like one of those weird people that can like draw stuff without sketching it or anything, not having any guidelines at all. Like they start people who draw cartoons and stuff, but they start with the eyes and then like just go outward from there. That always just wigs me out. And I don't understand how that's possible. Like I have to my stuff would end up looking like Picasso. And I mean, but not, not a masterpiece, but like deformed. Um, I'd end up with like a nose where the chin should be and stuff like that if I try to do that. But to y'all right now, it kind of looks like that's what I'm doing because you can't really see the lines that I'm tracing very well. Oh, that's cool. Tell me who that is, Biokai. I used to be obsessed with TED Talks. I used to watch TED Talks all the time, and I don't anymore, but I absolutely will because that sounds awesome. I kind of think of drawing as like a little bit like if you've watched Ted Lasso, the Graham Shaw. Okay. Ooh, cool, cool. All right, I'm writing that down. Graham Shaw. TED Talk. Cool. Thank you. Um oh yeah, TED Talk can't draw. That would probably work too. I think of drawing as like um kind of if you've seen Ted Lasso, um there's an episode where one of the characters is one of the players is like all up in his head and just taking everything way too seriously. So another character, takes him out to, just this neighborhood pickup football game and tells him, we're here because you have forgotten that this is a game that you used to play when you were a kid because it was fun. So fucking go out there and have fun. And I think of drawing that way, you know. Like I think as grown-ups we tend to take ourselves a little too seriously sometimes and we get all up in our heads about whether or not something is good enough or whatever. And like dodgeball. No, dodgeball is evil. Dodgeball is the reason why I have a scar on my forehead. True story. I have a scar right above my right eyebrow where I was playing dodgeball at a church and I hit my head on the corner of the church and it split my head open. True story. This is also why I no longer go to church. um, it's hazardous to your health. Yeah, for real. I mean, it's not a big scar. Like you would never know it was there unless I showed it to you, and you even then it's like hard to see. So it's not it's fine, but it was still rather scary, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, and these kids were like pegging people with the ball, like it hurt too. So it was like, okay, I can I can break my nose or turn away real fast to get away from the ball and break my head open. And I say that like as though it was a butts up. What the heck is butts up? I've never heard of this. I need to know about this. What the heck is butts up? We used to play in our PE classes at school. We would play like variations on dodgeball that were like um things like we call it like prison ball. So like instead of being out when you got hit, you had to go into the prison, which was like it was the basketball lane in the gym. And then in order to get out of prison, you had to catch one of the balls and then hit somebody on the team the opposite team with it from the prison, which was kind of fun because it was like, you know, the people on the other team, they're not watching what's going on behind them to try and avoid those balls. So you can usually hit them pretty easily. I really want to know what butts up is, but I'm like, I don't want to Google it for obvious reasons or what potentially everyone gets one shot. Get a ball, wall, and kids. Throw ball at wall. If hits ground first, you have to run and touch the wall. Someone throws the ball, hits the wall before you, you stand against the wall, butt out. Oh my goodness. That's funny though. Oh, that's really funny. See, like the variations on it can make it kind of fun, but I'll just ultimately it's just mean. It's just kids throwing balls at each other and, in a mean way. I used to love to play like we had kickball and we had foursquare. I used to love playing foursquare. That was fun. I was not very good at kickball, but I was one of the kids that got picked last. But, whatever. Okay. All right, Mr. Froggy. You need some feet. Okay. King of the Mountain. Yeah, I remember King of the Mountain too. Um, Thunderdome. Do people have to sing like Tina Turner? Okay, there we go. And once again, it looks like nothing to you, but we don't need another school lunch. We don't need another chocolate milk. All we need is pizza day. It comes on Friday. What's wrong, Beauregard? Mommy's almost done. I'll hang out with you after I'm done, I promise. And see, I don't have that little sign, so I can't hold up the little sign that says it's been 0 days since our last Mad Max reference. But I don't actually reference Mad Max that much because if I'm being honest, I'm not that big a fan of the Mad Max stuff. It's not really my jam as much as it is Scott's. Oh my goodness. Well, I was hoping to be able to show you guys more of the underglaze process, but yeah, BioCow, I kind of agree. Like they left where they were and then they came back and that meant they won somehow. Like I didn't get it. I mean, obviously it was more complicated than that, but and there were parts of it that were cool, like, Tom Hardy. He's great. Shirley, Shirley's Theron. Um, she's always good, but I mean, I don't know, just icky dystopian things are like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe I find them hard to get into because like I can't relate to any of that at all because for sure without any sort of question at all if our world ever turned into something like that, I would be one of the first people killed. I would die. Like there's no question in my mind. I would absolutely perish. Um so, Now, I like a good survival story. I haven't ever seen I Am Legend. I'm kind of interested to. Um, so because like I say, I like a good survival story. I love The Martian. That's one of my favorite movies. Like that's like a go-to movie for me. Um, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of the Mad Max thing. I remember seeing Beyond Thunderdome when I was a kid. Maybe that's why. Maybe because I watched, I'm a kid of the 80s, and so like I watched all kinds of shit that I shouldn't have been watching at the age I was watching it because we had HBO. So like um yeah, exactly, BioCal. Like I'd be like, okay, what's the least painful way I can possibly uh just get this over with because I know I'm gonna die. Like Walking Dead, for sure. Yeah, I'd be one of the first people killed. But yeah, like I watched all kinds of shit when I was too young. I was too young to understand it, and I was too young to not be scarred by it, frankly. I think that's partly why I am not a huge fan of scary movies either. Hey, Beauregard, have you considered shutting the hell up? Oh, that's Violet. I'm sorry. Violet, have you considered shutting the hell up? Shh. Violet. Shh. 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 Uh-uh. No, ma'am. Oh my god. Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, I never saw Modern Problems, but I saw a lot. I saw a lot of stuff. Like Violet, shush. I saw Poltergeist when I was like 6. Um, Violet, I realize that there are people outside mowing lawns. They are, in fact, allowed and encouraged to do so. Okay, there is another little froggy. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I saw all kinds of stuff that I should never have seen. I saw the movie Night Shift, with Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler, where like they work in a morgue and decide it would be a great place to run a prostitution ring. Like I had no I had no idea what I was watching, but hi, Violet. Shh, baby girl, you are being very rude. Mm-hmm. You are. You're very rude. Okay. So I'm going to switch this tip out really quickly because I'm probably going to go a little bit because my dog keeps barking. Violet, no, ma'am. Please stop. I'm so sorry, y'all. Like, what? I don't know how to make her stop. Again, they're like upset because people are outside mowing the lawns. Um, yeah, I mean, for real. Like, our parents just like didn't. They watched what they were watching. I think I saw like Arthur when I was a little kid. I saw, I mean, like just appalling things. I had no idea what I was watching. Oh, I can't put that on that cap onto that bottle. Dang it. Ugh. Yeah, there's just so much at work working against me today. I don't want to just use this bottle because I made a mistake at some point, and so I'll go ahead and tell you guys. So there's, um, you see how I have two different bottles here, right? One of these bottles is Underglaze. The other is stuff that's called Stroke and Coat. Um, and it's not a high fire glaze per se, but it does have glass particles in it, which makes it shiny. And so you can use it like underglaze. And most of the time, like if you go to one of those places that where you can paint your own pottery and you pick out a piece of bisqueware that is already on the shelf and you paint it, they're usually using stuff like Stroke and Coat. Um, and so one of them is shiny, one of them's flat, and I don't know which is which because I'm a doofus and I didn't label them. So what I really should do is take, label them like 1 and 2, and then do a test tile and see which one comes out shiny and then label them accordingly. And I will do that at some point. That doesn't help me right this moment. So I think I've gotten all of my carbon transfers done here. So I've got all my frogs transferred onto all of my mugs. And you can see over here, I've got a whole bunch more of them that are all already done. And so the next step is to get the underglaze on them. I'm disappointed that this didn't work out for the stream. So, but BioCow is my witness here. As BioCow is my witness, it was working. And you can see it was because I got half of this frog done before it stopped working. So I am going to go ahead and sign off, make this a bit of a shorter stream this evening because I need to go cook dinner. But thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope this was at least a little bit fun. I want to do more like this where you can more close up see the work that I'm doing instead of just like, me sitting in front of a camera slinging mud. And I'm still gonna do the streams where I'm throwing on the wheel, obviously. But I hope to have them set up more like this where you can actually see the process, because I think that's the more interesting thing for people to see. It's fun to come and hang out with me and just chit chat, but also I'd like for people to be able to see the process a little better. So yeah. So and I will post this as a video for later also. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you want to see more things like this, more decorating things. I will probably set something up to do like a time lapse with some of these, so you can see see me put the entire outline on, and then paint color, because my plan is to have him in color, and it's the little frog parts will be green, like a nice bright green, and then the overalls will be like a denim-y blue, and I'll make the rocking chair like brown or something like that. So that's my plan. So yeah, this was fun. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time. Be watching for when the streams are going to come on again. I'm still kind of playing with different days and times and all that. So I appreciate y'all being flexible with me and coming and hanging out at whatever time of day I can jump on the stream, because I do still have a day job, and so if I have meetings and stuff, I have to go to the meeting. Bleh. So anyway, see you guys next time. Bye bye.